You're welcome, Peter. I do have a question for you about, how did you come up with this concept? 10 years in, you told me just before we walked up here, this will be the 9th year you're in the playoffs in 10 years. Yep. That's pretty amazing. Did you ever imagine you'd be that successful in the role?
No. First of all, we got here I took a lot of credit from other people's ideas and they worked out. So it's been very personally successful for me. But we had an unbelievable, we have an unbelievable ownership group, and not just because they contract me and pay me. Like, it's this diverse, unbelievable, different thinking group from New York in the finance world to when we bought this team 10 years ago, reimagine that, we're on the platform of the NBA, that there are only 30 teams. It's a global sport. It's an audience that reaches 215 countries, like every game that's telecast. It's literally billions of impressions. You have to be successful. How could we take this small market and reimagine like what we can do? And the incredible thing is, we have this incredible 10-year run of acquiring a team, building a new arena, kind of birthing a generational superstar who happens to be Greek, to kind of capture a world market, and then winning a championship and continuing to perform at like a high level. So we've planned to be very, very lucky and successful in a big way. And the vision is I don't think it could happen in any other city where you could acquire 35 acres of land downtown, in a downtown that didn't really have a meeting place, and really create a destination. So it was a lot of things coming together. And then kind of the baseline of this is we acquired like a real distressed asset, and that's really rare. You have an NBA team that kind of was the last in every metric you could ever imagine, whether it was revenue, we had 15 wins the year we acquired the team. We really didn't have a fan base. So everything was up from there, and how to build the infrastructure, build the culture, and really kind of set the standards to be a championship team on and off the court was really the vision. And everything built, everything imagined was kind of at the gold standard. Like, how do we set the mark, versus kind of setting the example or just doing something, mediocrity. We just didn't stand for it. We wanted to kind of reimagine what downtown Milwaukee could look like, feel like, and experience.
So you can measure wins in building a global brand, right? But besides working towards hiring players and talent and building a winning culture, what are some of the other things that you did to build a global brand over the long term?
So everything matters. So you've got to be clinically insane to run a team at a high level. You've got to have team members who are just so dedicated to think the same way. And when I mean everything matters, like, you want to set a standard of excellence, you better service like your employees and your players' families. You've got to become like a real resource and stable foundation for what this business is. I mean, our players are usually young guys who really need help on like a lot of different ways. Like, how do we create infrastructure for everything from financial literacy to healthcare, to family rooms, to relocation, to moving, to people who can help them with real life stuff. Like that's a small example of the nuance that goes. And then how do we create an environment where people, we're working today, it's a weird job. Like, we'll have, our team will go on the road afterwards and land somewhere at 2:00 in the morning and play a game the next day. Like, how do you manage that like in a healthy way? And then our employees, everybody here will be home tonight at 10:00 after a game. And then, by the way, we open up the office, again, like, how do you manage that? So I think there's a real recognition of kind of the task at hand. There's an empathy for what the job is and how to manage that. But every point of contact and every detail matters. You need to really work hard.
So let's talk strategy. My first question is, what's your version of a championship mindset when it comes to driving business growth?
When you talk about growth, I think Peter gave a great example, and I was in the room in 2014 when they started talking about the vision. And they started talking about this thing called the Deer District. And bankers are bankers because they're not creative, by the way. Bankers are there to take your money as depositors and lend it out and get it back, right? So we protect the depositors' money. So we naturally are conservative, right? And Peter, to his point, said he likes to take risk. And he does, but the vision that they've created has been amazing. And they've been patient enough with bankers and others to like, okay, we'll get you there. We'll get you there. But this is like the first time you heard about the district was during the 21 finals when they had 60,000 people standing on gravel dirt here, waiting 15 minutes for a beer and waiting 20 minutes to go to the restroom and watching a game on a big screen TV. That was the kind of the formation of the Deer District. And now it's become this. And as Peter said, it's a meeting place and a destination place in Milwaukee. And so when you talk about the vision and where we go, do people have visions and strategy, and can they explain them appropriately to a banker to, for instance, to get the financing or whatever they need?
First of all, David Krutz from Michael Best. So you all say you're the best. We actually are the best.
I like that.
The other thing is feels like there's a joke here. An insurer, a banker, and a lawyer are sitting up, but my friend Kurt Bauer will make fun of the lawyer. I'm not going to do that. But from a strategic perspective and growth, think about it from both our clients' perspective as well as the firm perspective. From the clients, it always comes down to innovation. And we've got clients that are innovating what they do, how they do it, or expanding. If you're just doing the same thing you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, those clients, eventually the world catches up with them. So it's always innovation. I love the idea of paranoia and not sleeping because I actually admire the Bucks because there's a championship at some point or a win at some point. When you're in a lot of leadership positions, what happens? Something goes successful and you wake up the next day going, all right, now I got to execute. Now I got to do the next thing. From our firm's strategic plan, we really were faced several years ago with being Milwaukee-based. It wasn't the largest growing, the most rapid growing in the U.S. Our economy was kind of stagnant, so we made the decision to go national in certain markets, and we chose areas very strategically. But the one thing we did is we chose a strategic plan, and we stuck to it. And I learned that from the business leaders, our clients. Our current plan, developed in 2023, is Catalyst 2027, Empowering Growth. And we think it doesn't just capture what we want to do, but the clients. If the clients want to grow, they want to get to that next level. And that's really been where I think strategic plan and innovation really captures if you're really going to grow after 3, 5, 10 years, or like Michael Best, 176 plus years now.
So speaking of risk, Michael, how can companies scale while protecting themselves from unforeseen risks?
So when I think about scale, it's growth for intended purpose, right? That might be increasing stockholder value, fulfilling a mission, better serving customers. And when I think about growth, that's coming from a number of different areas, right? It might be M&A, it might be new products, new territories, and things like that, right? So it's for a purpose, and it's coming from a number of different avenues. This is kind of a Captain Obvious statement, but the best way to avoid unforeseen risk is to foresee them. And the way to do that is by identifying and managing them. And I think with few exceptions, risks are identifiable and quantifiable. And it doesn't mean that it's avoided, right? You think about the way you manage risk, you mitigate it, you accept it, you transfer it. And I think the last case is you avoid it, right? So what are those strategies to manage risk? And when we look at the internal risk management function, some of you might be part of organizations that have highly formalized enterprise risk management programs that the risk discussion is very prescriptive, right? It's a common approach taken with every decision. But that's not likely the case in many of your organizations. You just don't have the people, the bandwidth to have an ERM program that functions that consistently, right? So how does a middle market organization take the same approach to risk? And it's really making sure there's a process for identifying and managing risk in decisions. It's interdisciplinary within your organization. It's thinking about getting input from operations, from HR, from finance, from legal.